Okay, this is game 3 of our chess review. Pawn to e4, pawn to e5, knight attacks, knight defends, it's Ruy Lopez. Basically, for the beginner anyway, bishop takes knight, pawn takes bishop, knight takes pawn, queen to d5, attacking the knight and the pawn, knight retreats, queen takes pawn, check, queen, queen takes queen, queen takes queen. So even though there appears to be a threat of white winning a pawn, black actually gets the pawn back. Queen f6. Now immediately you should say to yourself, well, that violates one of the basic chess principles, not bringing your queen out too early. You want to develop your minor pieces. You want to get your king into a safe position. You want to connect your rooks, ultimately bring the rooks into the center of the board, then decide exactly where you want to place your queen. White continues just trying to get development. Black, I believe appropriate, decides to stop the bishop from harassing the queen. White continues with development. Black brings out a minor piece, the bishop. I think his hope is that the bishop coordinated with the queen will be able to attack at f2, but you can't just hope for an attack. White already has 2 pieces defending that pawn and 1 piece blocking the attack of the queen. So you cannot wait for that to develop. You have to continue to apply basic chess principles and ideas. And black is not doing a bad job. His only violation was bringing the queen out there. He is attempting to develop all of his other minor pieces. And this is one of the problems with bringing your queen out early. Bishop takes, pawn takes. White's idea is to be able to push up d4. Black is going to have a problem meeting that idea because he has to consider the possible discovered attack once the pawn takes back. If the queen was not there, he wouldn't have to consider that at all. Defends the bishop. Another principle is you want to maintain a sound pawn structure. If bishop takes bishop, pawn takes bishop, he'll have an isolated rook pawn, which isn't really extremely bad, but when you're just starting out, you want to maintain your pawn structure. And white takes. And now white has a slight advantage of a better pawn structure. And this, I believe, was white's primary idea. If pawn takes pawn, you have triple isolated pawns and a single isolated pawn. Pawn structure is really bad for black. If black takes with the knight, he opens up his queen to attack, which if the queen was never there, it wouldn't be open to attack. If he takes back with the queen, then he drops the pawn at e5. And all this is because the queen is out there earlier than she should be. The decision for black is to have tripled pawns on an isolated file. Now fortunately this file is still closed off, but this tripled isolated pawns is still very weak. White wants to stop the pin of the knight. He does not want that knight's movement restricted. Black is attempting to adhere to chess principles. Castle gets king into a safe position. White right away wants to take advantage of all these weak pawns, so his knight is attacking the pawn. Black counters by attacking white's pawn. Black would love to exchange off this healthy pawn for this weak pawn, so white really doesn't want to do that. Plays queen to d2, thinking queen c3, he'll be able to attack the pawn. Now once you have a better position, you have weaknesses in your opponent's position, sometimes you become blind to your opponent's attacking chances. Apparently white was thinking positionally and did not consider the tactical aspects of the position. What black could do right now, it's his move. Bishop takes pawn, pawn takes bishop, queen takes knight. White's king's position would be extremely weakened. But black was also blinded by his own weaknesses, and he missed the tactical opportunity. White now sees the problem, so he's not going to go to c3. He's going to go to e3, where he still has a double attack on that weak pawn, and he covers the tactical threat. If bishop takes pawn, pawn takes bishop, the queen cannot capture the knight. Black continues trying to build up and improve the placement of his pieces. He's looking at going to f4, which is usually a great place for the knight to attack the castle king's position from. White has apparently decided to take off this pawn with the knight, so he wants to cover that position, but he also has to be aware of what's going on the king's side. All the weak pawns don't mean anything if you're the one who gets checkmated. Knight's taking a strong position. White needs to be very careful, and he is. The threat was bishop takes, pawn takes. Well, let's just look at it. Bishop takes, pawn takes, knight takes with check, king comes over, or bishop takes, pawn takes, queen checks, king moves, checkmate. So black had a possible mating attack here. Now if bishop takes, pawn takes, there's no check for the queen to apply, and the rook can come over to defend. Bishop takes, pawn takes. If the queen tries to come directly over, the knight covers the square. So he threatens mate right away. White defends mate right away. Black is actually making some excellent tactical threats. Now it's bishop takes, pawn takes, queen takes, checkmate. White must find a defending move. Moves bishop out. Now, if bishop takes, pawn takes, the queen cannot take with check because the queen would be exchanged. So black comes again with an attack, with the pawn storm attack. Black knows he has to stop the advancement of the pawn, so he counters with g4. If bishop takes pawn, the rook will just take the bishop. If knight takes pawn, the queen will take the knight, defending the rook. Queen moves up. Now the queen had an option here. She can move up or move out this way. This way weakens the attack, but allows black to try to rebuild another attack. This sticks with the same attack, but it also confines the queen. The queen has absolutely no mobility. Black will have to be extremely careful. And white is now starting to set the trap. The queen has nowhere to go. If you can attack this queen right now, the queen will be lost. Apparently black did not identify the threat. The knight attacks the queen, and the queen has no movement. She locked herself in. Queen is lost for a knight. Now, for all intents and purposes, at this point, black could have resigned, but he fought on, and we'll just go through it quickly to show how to wrap up a one game. He tries to get mobility with his bishop. White takes the free material. Black looks like he's going to try to attack with inferior forces. So now white is extremely ahead, so he's going to exchange off pieces every chance he gets. And when you are so far ahead, you still have to be careful. White is trying to break through the center, so he'll have more opportunities to attack. His breakthrough is successful. He wants to open up lines directly to black's king's position. He is successful. He now has rook on a half open file leading right to black's king. And since he is so far ahead in material, if you can give a little bit back and simplify the position, it usually makes the win that much easier. So he gives black the exchange. And he is still ahead, a queen for a rook and a better, more aggressive position. He activates his other rook into the game. Just exchanging off. And now if we take a look at the material, we see he's ahead, a queen for a rook. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So in actuality, he could exchange his queen for the rook and still queen a pawn in the endgame. Now he's 2 pawns ahead, which would make it that much easier. And at this point, black resigned. Okay, that was game 3.